Well, folks, I learned my lesson 2 times in a row trying to click over onto another tab and pull up a YouTube video that I thought you guys would enjoy and something that kind of makes sense with what I'm going to be referencing today. And man, this computer of mine, I'm due for a new computer, folks. Anybody wants to send me a brand new laptop, let me know. I'll give you my address. You can mail it right out to me. Anyways, I am excited to be here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Folks, my name is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. I think that we've got a little bit of an intimate audience today, which is fantastic. I think the stuff that I'm going to talk about is really super special and important, especially if you know me and trust me a little bit and have been around the channel for a while. But if this is your very first introduction to the channel, I think you're going to really enjoy it and like what you hear too. So I want to say good morning here to Dave P. He says, good morning. Hope you are all doing well. Yeah, man, here at the Infinite Crypto household, we woke up on this beautiful Monday morning ready to take on the world. Life is good. We've got a lot of exciting things happening personally and business-wise. So thank you very much, Dave, for the well wishes. We're doing great, and we hope you're doing fantastic too, man. I hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, Eric. How you doing, buddy? I got to go into my app and track it all, but I was down to 242.5 this morning when I did my weigh-in, which was roughly about another 5-pound week, my friend. This last week, I was just super inspired, man. I really feel like I am embodying this program and this lifestyle this time. And rather than waking up having to do the things that I'm doing, I feel like it's becoming more of a I get to, and I'm excited about it. And my wife was like, what's going on? Isn't that your third workout, Brad? Like, so literally over the last 7 days, there was probably 3 or 4 times that we bought this new exercise bike for doing inside the house. So I've been doing my 2 workouts, a lot of times outdoor workouts, Eric, but we bought this exercise bike that I can hop on and I can spend 20, 30, 40 minutes on it, sitting in front of, the TV. So when the wife and I are spending a little bit of time relaxing later on in the evening, I'm hopping on that exercise bike and burning, an additional couple hundred calories. And I noticed the bike is really tightening up my stomach. When you're riding the bike, it does something. It tightens up your core. I noticed by the end of a 30 or 45 minute time period on this bicycle, my stomach muscles are a little sore. You don't even notice it as much as you're doing it, but then when it's all over, you're like, wow, my stomach muscles just got to work out too. So anyways, folks, for those of you that don't have any idea what I'm talking about, I started this journey many years ago at about a little over 305 pounds at my absolute heaviest. And just as of about 40 days ago, really decided to rededicate myself to getting down to 199 pounds. Has been a goal of mine for a long time. 199 pounds was my walking around weight as I became an adult when I was about 18, 19, 20 years old, and in probably, some of the best shape of my life. And so I started this journey at 257 pounds about 40 days ago. Today I stepped on the scale and I'm 242.5. So just about 15 pounds in the last 40 days, and 42 and a half, or call it 43 and a half more to get down to 199. The tracker that Mr. Eric Bernstein set me up with tells me that I'm going to be there in roughly about 8 months. I think it was March or April. What do we got? September. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah. So I think it's saying that my date that I will get to 199, if I just stay on the pace that I'm on right now, is roughly about April of next year. And so with that, folks, let's get into stuff that you care about. But even that has a lot to do with what I am going to, talk about today. So, one of the things, it's weird. I can think about this concept. I conceptualize it. I know what I want to talk about. I I start the video, I actually go in and make the description in the YouTube video, and then for $1 million, if I had to tell you exactly what the description or the title of this YouTube video was, word for word, I don't think I can do it. But if I remember correctly, the premise of it is getting everything that you want fast, getting it immediately. And when you first look at that title, that sounds impossible, because let's face it, if you want to have $10 million, or if you want to have $1 million, or even if you were broke today and $10,000 was an amazing little goal that you started off with, you wanted $10,000, the ability to have it today or tomorrow or the next day seems impossible. And folks, I want to tell you that that's not the case. Something that I've been spending a lot more time on is the power of intention, the quantum field, if you will. For those of you that don't know me or do know me, I'm a Christian. I very, very much believe in God. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are Christians that don't like to talk about manifestation. They don't like to talk about the power of intention. They don't like to talk about the quantum field. And unfortunately, folks, I think that they are missing the boat, because the reason I believe that is I believe that manifestation and intention and the quantum field, who made them? Well, folks, if you believe in God, then you should believe that God is responsible for those things. And it says in the Bible, I don't know the exact where the spot is in the Bible, but the words, as a man thinketh, so is he, is a very famous Bible verse. And you can go through and read the Bible, and you can see instance after instant after instance where God talks about, a people without vision will perish. This over and over and over in the Bible, it talks about how we become what we think about, what we focus on. There's a famous parable where this Indian chief is talking to his son. Excuse me, my wife decided to get sick last week from the nursery, the kids in her nursery at church. And I did my darndest not to get it, but I think it's trying to get me. We're going to do the best that we can to not let it. And even if it does, I'm not going to let it change what I'm doing in life. But, there's this Indian chief, and he's talking to his son, and he tells his son that there are two wolves out there that, are always going to be, on his shoulder, basically. It's kind of like our old story. You got the devil on one shoulder, you got, God, an angel on the other. But he talks about these two wolves and how one wolf is anger and bitterness and jealousy and rage and all of the bad things in life, and that the other wolf, is love and kindness and respect and positivity and winning. And when he gets done explaining this to the young man asks the chief, well, which one of these two wolves is going to win the battle? And the chief wisely tells his son, the one that you feed the most. And so even that parable goes back to the one that you feed the most, the one that you're the most focused on. And so I wanted to bring that up real quickly, because if you're a Christian, and as soon as you start hearing about manifestation and intention and that kind of stuff, you kind of turn off your brain. Some of you might have even clicked out of the YouTube video today because you didn't want to hear it. I'll never forget, back probably 18 years ago, something like that, I was in a business where I had a team of people, and I came up with this idea. The book, The Secret, was very popular back then. And this book, The Secret, was all about, intention and creating the life of your dreams. And I had several people in that group that were part of this business that, like, flat out would not read the book, The Secret. And I'm not down on anybody that feels like that. I'm not judging them. I think that they had just, they had went to a sermon at their church, and I think their pastor had good intentions and meant well. And if it gets explained incorrectly, then I could see where people would be a little bit, leery of it in a sense. Like this isn't, hey, I want to figure out how I can rob the corner bank and, and do a bunch of bad. Now, as with anything, anything that has the potential for good has the potential for evil. So, the trouble with the laws of success, sometimes, if you want to call it trouble, the trouble with the law of success is that it doesn't matter if you're a good person or if you're a bad person. If you apply the law of success, it works for you. Same thing with the law of gravity, right? Like it doesn't matter if you're a creep and a thief and a criminal and do the worst things in life, or if you are the holiest person that's ever walked on this planet, if you go walk off the top of a building, you're going to splat down on the ground. The power of gravity, the law of gravity just doesn't care. And I think that's an amazing thing in a lot of ways, because you don't have to be someone special. You don't have to, there'd be a lot of people if that was the case where, like people were chosen. Hey, this law works for this person, but it's not good for this person. There'd be a lot of people out there that could make excuses and say, well, gosh, the reason that I'm not successful is that principle just doesn't work for me. Works for Joe over there, works for my brother-in-law, works for my dad, but unfortunately I got left out. That success principle, wasn't meant for me. And so one of the cool things that I think about God is he gives us free will. And whether we're good or whether we're bad, if we put the laws of success into motion, we're going to get the things. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. Somebody that puts the laws of success in motion and goes out and creates wealth, but they're a bad person and they're doing bad things with the money and they're hurting people, they're not going to have a good life, and they're definitely not going to enjoy the way life ends. So it's much better to be a good person and employ these laws of success. Man, this is really kind of irritating getting this nose running on me. I want to get rid of these. There we go. So let me kind of get back. I got off on a little bit on a tangent there, but let me get back to the moral of the story. I've been listening to a guy, and I recommend that you write this down. Part of the reason that the video froze up is I was trying to find a YouTube video. I wanted to put the link into the description so you guys could go check it out. And whenever I try to get onto YouTube on another tab, it's freezing up my streaming software. So I'll have to do it after the video is over. But there's a gentleman named Dr. Joe Dispenza that I had the amazing honor of meeting about a year ago now. It wasn't Santa Barbara. I forget where was it? Is it Santa Barbara? I think it maybe was Santa Barbara, California. My son and I drove about a 6-hour trip or so here from Las Vegas, and we went to a VIP dinner where we got to meet Dr. Joe Dispenza at a David Meltzer dinner. But Dr. Joe Dispenza has spent his lifetime researching the human brain and understanding these thought patterns and these brain waves and the things that you need to do to rewire your brain, whether it's for success or for happy relationships, whatever you might want to have be a little bit different in your life. He shows people how to manifest and through the power of intention, how to achieve these things. And so when I talk about how you can have everything that you want immediately, I'm telling the truth, folks. But the way that you do that is through visualization and meditation. And what I mean by that, folks, is your subconscious mind does not understand the difference between an imagined thought and reality. And what that means, folks, is think about some of the things in life. Have you ever had a situation where somebody close to you sneezed and then you sneezed? Of course you have. It happens. It's a weird phenomenon where one person in a room sneezes and all of a sudden multiple other people will end up sneezing. Have you ever been sitting at a dinner table and maybe had somebody, like putting lemon in their water, and after they squeeze a little bit of the lemon, they put the lemon in their mouth, and their mouth just, like even right now, it's just like if you imagine sucking on a lemon right this second, there's some of you that probably, if you're just really imagine me sucking on a lemon, your face starts to pucker a little bit. So your brain doesn't know the difference between something that you're really experiencing in real life and something that you're vividly imagining. And so athletes do this all the time. Fighters are trained to actually sit and meditate and just imagine how a fight is going to go. And the cool thing, I've been watching some guys that train fighters. They really visualize all of the good things, but the cool thing about this visualization, they don't even just visualize winning. They actually visualize bad things happening to them. Because let's face it, Mike Tyson's very famous for saying everybody's got a great plan until they get punched in the face. And so these guys literally will envision different versions of the fight, and they're literally taught to envision getting punched in the face or having something happen unexpected where they're almost knocked out, and then they imagine, they visualize, they put their intention onto how they're going to overcome in that situation, because they understand that no matter how many of the variables they try to control in a boxing ring or in an MMA fight, there's going to be things that are uncontrollable. So they try to basically prepare for every example. And so same thing with runners and just about any athlete that you can imagine. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they were huge on visualizing. They were huge on what it would feel like to be there in that moment. Like we were all kids once, right? How many of you guys, whether you were a basketball player or a football player, how many of you, when you were 7 or 8 or 10 years old, man, there's 3 seconds left on the clock. The Bulls are down by 2, and Brad gets the ball. It's passed into him. He's on the 3-point line. He fakes left. He fakes right. There's 1 second left. He puts it up and swish. They win the championship, and you danced all around the court. Well, folks, that stuff is still important to do as adults today. I'm telling you that you can visualize right there. That made me happy. I feel like the dopamine hit my brain just in that moment. Folks, in order to have the life of your dreams, you're going to have to be a little bit different. You're going to have to be a little bit crazy. Some of you watching this video might think that was crazy right there. Yeah, but I'm not 7 or 8 years old anymore, Brad. I'm 20 years old. I'm 30 years old. I'm 50 years old. That's child stuff. Hey, in the Bible, it tells us, God tells us that to be childlike, that the children are going to inherit the earth. One of the reasons that children are so precious is because they haven't been beaten down by the world, and so they have the ability to be childlike. They have the ability to use that imagination. And for whatever reason, adults, we get told, oh, hey, quit dreaming so big. Oh, like if you're in school and you're 8 years old, how many times were you maybe daydreaming, looking out the window, daydreaming about what you were going to do after school, or maybe even what you were going to do on recess, and all of a sudden the teacher snapped you out of it. Brad, pay attention. Quit daydreaming. That's not going to get you anywhere in life. Little did they know that daydreaming, imagination like that, is actually one of the most important things in life. And I don't think that our parents and our teachers and the people in our life that loved us and cared about us actually knew what they were doing. They didn't mean to stifle us. They didn't mean to make things like this a bad thing. They just wanted us in the moment, to pay attention to them. But unfortunately, they put things into our brain that just weren't true. So I was listening to this Joe Dispenza the other day, and it talked about how everything I want is happening right now. And the reason that I talk about how you can have everything that you want right now is because you can literally imagine that you have it right now. So he mentioned in this video, he's like, take whatever you want and imagine what that is. You know, maybe for you it's $1 million. Maybe it's for you it's extremely good health. Maybe it's amazing marriage. Maybe it's amazing father father relationship with your kids. Whatever in your life you really would want. Like if you could right now, if you just had that magic genie that popped out of the bottle and said, I'm going to grant you 3 wishes. Just take a quick second right here during this video. We're in no hurry. Just like close your eyes and imagine what that thing is. And then once you have a picture of that, I want you to really experience it. Like I want you to imagine if you and your wife were, if, maybe, you want this incredible relationship with your wife. If you and your wife were just having one of the best days of your whole life, go back to a day that you remember with your wife that was super special, where you guys laughed more and were more intimate and close. And it just felt like she was the absolute only person on the planet for that few moments or for that hour or two, and really get into that feeling. And you will start to see and feel the chemistry in your body start to change. You'll start to have a big smile on your face. You might even start to tear up a little bit if it was an emotional moment. And that's what it takes. Like, folks, if you're going to visualize, you're going to create intention, you can't do it from a place of just normal, like sitting here in your chair and going, yeah, I'd kind of, I'd like to have a better relationship, or man, it would be cool to have $1 million. And you're like, yeah, man, I'd like to have $1 million. Like you got to imagine, you really have to imagine $1 million being in your possession. So I was lucky. I had a friend win a poker tournament one time, and he actually he won $278,000, and he brought it home in cash. So at the casinos, they bundle up $10,000 bricks. So you got a little brick. It's only, it doesn't take very much to get, $10,000 and $100 bills together. But then they wrap 5 of those together. So you got $50,000 bundles. It's about this big brick of $100 bills, 50 grand. And he had 5 of those bricks, and then he had some loose money. And I took a picture. I was holding these 5 bricks in my arms, $250,000 in my arms. So I go back to that moment, and it's a pretty real moment for me, even though it wasn't my money. But when I'm imagining abundance and imagining money, like I will literally imagine, my Binance account, and I'll imagine I open it up and it says your portfolio is worth $1 million. I'll open up my MetaMask and I'll imagine that my Ethereum MetaMask, $1 million. I'll open up my bank account, $1 million. I'll open up my other bank account and I'll envision $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, whatever that might be. And then really start, what would you feel like right now? Like literally, if I knocked on your door and you opened the door and I said, hey, I got a present for you, man. Congratulations. Here's $1 million. No strings attached, man. It's yours. Do whatever you want to do with it. How would you feel in that moment? You wouldn't just be like, yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Brad. Good seeing you, man. Have a good day, man. If it was legit and real, and I literally just handed you $1 million, you would jump up and down. You would scream at the top of your lungs. I mean, you would not be able to control your emotions. You'd start thinking about, man, we got to go to the store. We're going to buy this. We're going to buy that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We got to go look at houses. And you would get excited. And what I'm trying to tell you, folks, is if you can get yourself into that state on a daily basis, then you already have everything that you want right now. Your brain doesn't know the difference. But the awesome thing about your brain is that because it doesn't know the difference, it starts working towards actually manifesting that in real life. So if you can get your brain to believe you have it now, if you can get your brain to believe you have it through your imagination, then your mind will then go out into the world and will create it. And so the awesome thing is you can have the joy and the bliss and the excitement of having it right now, even though you don't physically have it yet. But the way that you physically have it is to manifest it internally right now and make it a belief. And that's going to go into, I did a video, the first live stream video that I did in my inner circle yesterday. This new platform is awesome. I can do live stream videos. So I did a live stream video, and I recommend if you're in the inner circle that you go watch that. It was about 15, 16 minutes long. I just want to give you a real short version of it. I want to give you a couple of things. Like when I talk about, the power of intention and acting as if and believing in things. One of the best examples that I can give you, I actually played this clip in my live stream yesterday. I'm not going to pull it up right now. I'm just going to give you a brief rundown. But a gentleman named Jerry Johnson, who now is one of the pastors of my church, a few short years ago, he was working as the director of operations for YMCA. He'd just gotten promoted, got this new job. He really loved it. I mean, he was helping people. He was helping kids. Him and his wife had went out and bought a new house because, their funds were doing well. So they have this new house. And then he hears, this kind of nagging voice. This voice is telling him, hey, you're going to end up working at Valley Bible. And he's like, what? That's crazy. I just got this new promotion. I'm happy here. And he's like, no, God was talking to him, and he heard, he mentions in this sermon, he's like, never heard God just say, Jerry, you're going to work at Valley Bible. It wasn't like a big booming voice that came out of the sky. It was just this little voice in the back of his head. We all have it. And so many times we ignore it, folks. But he had this nagging, this voice saying, you're going to work for Valley Bible. And he knew it was God. So what did he do? He picked up the phone and he called, Pastor Jim, who was the lead pastor that was responsible for staffing the church. And he said, hey, Pastor Jim, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but God's been kind of putting it on my heart that I'm going to come work for Valley Bible. Do you even have any positions open? And Jim said, you know what? That's crazy. We were just talking about at the church how you are a person that we would love to bring onto the staff. But right now, I don't have any jobs available. And so that was it. They hung up the phone. But right now, catch what I'm saying. This next part is important. So Jerry tells his wife, hey, God told me I'm going to be working for Valley Bible. And so he literally went into his boss's office, and he gave his boss 60 days notice. He just got off the phone with Pastor Jim, and Pastor Jim told him there ain't no jobs. But God was telling him that he was going to work at Valley Bible, and he went in and gave his 60-day notice. And he tells the story about 30 days later, he was going into the doctor to have a heart checkup, make sure everything was good with his heart and everything. He's at the doctor's office, and Pastor Jim calls him and says, hey, I just wanted to call you and let you know that we're all praying for you. We hope that everything's going good with your heart. But that isn't why I'm calling. The reason I'm calling is I want to know, what would it take? What would it take for you to leave the YMCA and come over to Valley Bible and be our director of operations? And he had put the phone on speaker while Pastor Jim was talking. His wife was in the room. And when Pastor Jim said that, his wife just started bawling, because I kind of forgot part of the story. When he went in and put his 60 days notice in, his wife thought he was absolutely crazy. She thought he was off his rocker. He says he wishes he could have a picture of the look on her face when she's like, what? What do you mean you just put in your 60-day notice? We just bought this house. How are we going to afford all of our bills? Blah, 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 blah. Like, just freaked out. And I can imagine, whether it was me or my wife or me, whoever was doing that, like, that would sound absolutely crazy. You just got told, hey, there's no job openings. Yeah, we would love to have you, but there's no job right now. And so what do? You go put in your 60-day notice. Folks, that is the difference between just kind of believing half-heartedly that something is happening, or something's going to happen, and it going to expecting it's going to happen. Jerry knew God told him, hey, you're going to work for Valley Bible. He just took it in faith. He believed it. And so often in life, folks, we've got these blessings, these things that are just right there. but because we're not able to allow ourselves to wholeheartedly believe they are coming, we hold something back. It's like that, like if I don't give it everything I got, then if I fail, I've got something that I can kind of fall back on. I can say, hey, I might have made it, but I didn't really give it everything I had. And folks, I think that's, there's that fear of failure. There's that fear of what if I'm wrong? Like how crazy would Jerry look if 60 days down the road when it was time to leave the YMCA, if the church still didn't have any jobs? And it's tough to step out in faith, but that's the difference between just kind of believing something. That's the difference between sitting here and being like, yeah, man, I'd like to have $1 million. Maybe by the end of this bull run, if this happens and that happens, yeah, I could get lucky. I might have $1 million. And you're sitting here thinking about it would be kind of cool, but it's kind of like a pipe dream. It's something that you don't really believe is going to happen. Like you're going to be extremely surprised if it happens. And I'm telling you, you need to work on your brain. You need to work on visualizing having it and experience what it would be like to have it on a daily basis and believe that you have it in order for it to come true. And so I called that video that I did yesterday, going from believing to expecting. And it's kind of like the same thing. I gave an example too, like with a husband and wife. If a husband and wife decide that they want to have a baby, then they start doing all of the stuff to try to have the baby. And maybe they believe, we believe we might have a baby. We believe we could have a baby. But all of a sudden, if they find out that the wife is pregnant, now they don't call it believing that you're going to have a baby or trying to have a baby. Once you're pregnant, it's called you're expecting a baby. And that's a whole nother mindset, right? Like when you're just kind of believing and trying to maybe have a baby, you're not out there buying cribs and car seats and strollers. What I'm telling you is if you want to have a baby and you're really serious about it, then you got to start expecting to have a baby. Go ahead and be crazy. Go out and buy that stroller. Go out and buy that playpen. Go start buying some baby clothes and become an expectant person, not just somebody that's kind of trying to have a baby or somebody that's believing that you might have a baby. You pray about it. If God puts it on your heart, you believe that it's supposed to be, then go out there and act in faith. Expect that you're going to have a baby. And I'm telling you, miracles will happen. My wife and I, we've got some stuff going on. She's got a PCOS, which I can't even tell you exactly what it stands for, but it's polycystic, blah, blah, blah. But she's got something that causes it to be a little bit harder for her to get pregnant. I'm a little bit older. I've been told that my swimmers ain't got the mobility that they had when they were young. So in other words, doctors have kind of told us that, yeah, it's possible for us to get pregnant, but it's not necessarily as likely as it could be with some, fully functioning, medically, good people. But my wife and I decided, hey, we're going to have a baby, and we believe that God is going to bless us with a baby, and we're expecting to have a baby. She's buying stuff all the time on Amazon for the baby that we're going to have. We're not going into this going like, well, maybe we're going to have a baby. Like, no, we're going to have a baby. One way or another, a baby is coming. And so, folks, we're going from just kind of believing and trying to expecting. We're going to have a baby. I'm declaring it right here live today on Monday, September 9th. My wife and I are going to have a baby, and I'm excited to bring that little guy or gal into the world. And, at 51 years old, I'll probably be closer to 52-ish by the time that little guy or gal is here in our arms. But we're going to expect a baby. We're not going to just believe that maybe we might have a baby. And then last but not least, folks, 42 minutes in, I want to tell you a quick story that kind of emulates this whole point. And think about, you got your dreams and your goals and the things that you're trying to accomplish in life. My wife is in here. I didn't know she was listening. Hey, babe, I love you. Thank you for supporting the channel and for being here, listening to that. Hopefully I didn't give away any information that was too personal, but I want you to, when I tell you this quick story, I want you to envision it as if it was your dreams and your goals and your dream life. Like, we're all sitting here, we're talking about on this channel, creating freedom, creating our dream life, having a life by design. And so I want you to think about what that looks like, everything that you want. And most of us have never really met anybody that has it. We've kind of heard about some people that have gotten it, but maybe we don't really know them personally. So we've never really like seen it, experienced it. We believe it's possible. And so this story is kind of a mirror of those things in your life. So I want you to imagine that there's this place where people have been, and it is the most amazing, most beautiful, incredible place in all of the world. It's basically described as heaven on earth. And this place is, you're not allowed to take any pictures. You're not allowed to take any video. You're not allowed to bring home any proof of this place. But somebody set out on this path and decided that they were going to find this place that they had heard about. And they went through all of the ups and downs, and they finally figured it out. They found out where this place is. And so now they come back and they tell other people, hey, this place is, here's the path. You got to start off on this path, but there's going to be times where the path is steep. There's going to be times where the path is, straight down, it curves around. There's going to be times where you're walking on this little tiny path right on the edge of a cliff. And if you fall off, you're going to perish. And I can't tell you whether it's 10 miles or 25 miles or 50 miles or 100 miles. You're not allowed to take any type of a compass. You're not allowed to take any, GPS. So you don't know exactly when this place is going to be there. But if you stay on this path, at some point in time, you're going to come around a corner or go over the top of a hill, and it's going to open into this clearing where it's heaven on earth. It's the most beautiful place on the whole planet. It's just this amazing blue water. There's a mountain in the background. There's huge trout swimming around. If you like to fish, you're going to catch huge trout. There's deer and elk grazing around the edge of it. There's the most beautiful flowers that you've ever seen in your whole life. It's just literally heaven on earth. If you go and you experience it, it'll change your life. It'll transform your life forever. You'll never be the same. And so you decide with your partner or on your own or with a group of people or whatever, you're going to strike out and you're going to go on this journey. And what starts to happen, folks, is after a day or two of walking, you're tired. Maybe your food is starting to run out. You thought you were going to be to this destination by now. You started investing in crypto 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, and you're wondering, you thought, man, why hasn't it happened yet? What's going on? Is this crypto market ever going to turn around? You're on this path and you're walking towards this destination. Everything that you ever wanted is going to be there when you come through and see this clearing. But you start to get tired. You start to get discouraged. You go a little bit further along. You're another couple of days into this journey. It feels like you've walked, dozens, if not, 100 miles, and you're wondering what is going on here. I know it was supposed to be a battle. It was supposed to be a hard walk, but I thought, did we get lost? Did we make a wrong turn? What's going on here? You start to question yourself and wonder if everything that you heard about the cryptocurrency markets is true. Is Bitcoin ever really going to go and hit 100, 125, 150,000, or is it over? Is it over? Am I crazy to think that this Bitcoin thing is going to work? And then to make matters worse, you're like, I'm going to keep on keeping on, man. Brad has told me that it's there, that, I trust Brad. I know that he knows what he's talking about. He believes everything that he's saying with all of his heart. So you keep on walking, And then guess what happens? You and your wife, or you and your spouse, you and your partner, you and your best friend, whoever you're taking this journey with, all of a sudden you're kind of contemplating and you're thinking about quitting. And right about that time, somebody comes back and you're like, hey, did you find the clearing? Did you find this amazing place? And they're like, no, man, that's bull crap. It ain't there. We walked a full another 3-4 hours ahead of where you are here. We still didn't get to the path. Come on. We're turning around. We're getting back out of here. Food is running out. We're thirsty. Our legs are hurting. We've got blisters on our feet. And for the briefest second, you think about quitting. You think about turning around and going with them. For some reason, something keeps you in the game, and you tell them, yeah, you know what? You guys go ahead and go back. I've already come this far. I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to keep going because this is my life. These are my dreams. Everything that I ever wanted is on the other side of this road in this clearing, and I'm not giving up. And so you keep going. And another day goes by and you still haven't gotten there. And then the next day you wake up and you walk, and all of a sudden you come to the steepest hill that you've ever seen in your life. It's like almost straight up, and it goes almost forever. Like you can't see the end of it. And you're hurting, and you're out of food. You're out of water, and you are ready to give up. You believe that you wasted your time, that you got lied to, that this place doesn't exist. And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 or 4 people come running over the top of that hill, and they start heading down towards you. And you think to yourself, man, here's another group of people that didn't find what they were looking for. And they're going to tell us that it ain't there. And they're going to ask us to turn around and come home and quit with them. And we're gonna. You look over at your wife, or you look over at your spouse, your partner, whoever you're there with, and you agree. When these guys get down to the bottom of the hill, we're going to turn around. We're going to leave, man. We're done. But instead of that happening, these people get down to the bottom of the hill, and they're the happiest people that you've ever seen in your life. And they're excited. And they tell you, hey, congratulations, man. You've made it. At the top of this hill, when you get over the peak of this hill, everything that you wanted is going to be there. You're going to get over the peak of this hill, and there's going to be the most beautiful lake that you've ever seen, with the bluest water and the trout and the deer and the mountain and the blue sky, and everything that you've ever wanted in your whole life is right there. And all you got to do is get to the top of the hill. We were there, man. We experienced it. We lived it. We're going back right now to get all of our friends, and we're going to bring everybody that we can back to this place, man. It's incredible. In one split second, you just went from hurting, your legs hurting, your feet hurting, blisters on your feet, hungry and thirstier than you've ever been in your life, ready to quit and turn around, and instead you sprint up that mountain with all of the energy of a 10-year-old kid waking up on Christmas morning. And you run up that hill faster than you would have ever thought possible. People are like, Brad, holy smokes, man, he's 51 years old. I ain't seen him move that fast in my whole life. You get up and you come over the peak of the hill, and sure enough, there it is. Everything you wanted, everything you ever wanted in life is right there for the taking. Folks, the moral of the story is, when I was telling that story, did you get an emotion? Did your state change when those people came down the hill and you heard that it was real? Did your state change for a second? Did you get excited like I did? Did you start to feel it? Could you literally feel in your body that change when you found out it was real? When you went from hoping it was there to knowing it was there? Did you feel it? What I'm trying to tell you, folks, is you need to feel it every single day. You need to go from hoping that it's going to happen to knowing that it's going to happen, folks. It's there. It's there. It's gonna happen. And when you go with that attitude, you're happy. I promise you, while I was running up that hill, hardest hill I've ever ran up in my life, with my legs sore than I've ever been, my feet having blisters, skin falling off, hungry, haven't eaten in 2 or 3 days, haven't drank. I promise you, I was happier than I almost ever been in my whole life running up that hill, because I knew everything that I wanted in life was right around the corner. It was right at the top of that hill. None of the pain, none of the market going down by 50%, none of the looking at my $100,000 portfolio and having it be worth 15 grand. None of it mattered in that moment. And do you think that if somebody would have came down the hill and tried to convince me to quit, or somebody that was behind me as I was halfway up the hill would have tried to convince me to quit, you think they would have had any chance? Was there any possibility that they could have talked me out of going for it? Heck no. Because I knew it was there. Somebody that had been there just came down over the hill and told me that it was there. That's what I'm trying to tell you, folks. Visualization and meditation will not work. It doesn't change anything unless you change your state of mind first. Right now, it would be a perfect time for me to turn off this camera and visualize everything that I want, because I am in a state of mind right now where my mind is expectant. It's believing that everything that I want is possible and that it's right there. It's not a long ways away. It's right there. And when you're in that kind of a state of mind, folks, you can change your life by visualizing and believing that the things that you want to create in your life are right there, and that they're possible, and that it's yours for the taking. God made you in his image. He made you special. He made you to do something fantastic in your life. He made you to do something great. If you don't believe in that enough yourself, borrow from my belief, because I know it's true. I believe that you can have everything that you want, that you can make it. You can, whatever it is in your life that you want, it's there for the taking, folks. With that, thank you for putting up with my tears, man. I get emotional about this stuff, man. Winning in life is something that you should get emotional about. Winning is important. The example, one last thing I'm going to say. As I was talking, I was listening to a gentleman named Ed Milet. As you guys know, he's one of my favorite guys in the whole world. And I was watching this short video, and he was talking about how right now, when you're going through the struggle and you've got the haters and you've got the people detracting and the people trying to keep you from doing it, those same people are going to be the people that a lot of times you end up helping in their life when you get there. Those are going to be the people like you don't even know right now. When you get all of the things that you want in life, when you create that wealth, when you create that freedom, you're going to help people that haven't even been born yet. You're going to help people that you might not even know yet in this moment to have a better life. You're going to be able to pay for somebody's operation and save their life. You're going to maybe be able to help somebody avoid blindness because you have the funds to stroke the check for your sister. Like Ed Milet, he had a sister with type 1 diabetes that went blind, and she wasn't able to be a teacher anymore. She loved being a teacher, and she was a teacher for young children. And unfortunately, because of her blindness, she had to retire early. And he actually lived in this very affluent neighborhood. And one day he was taking a walk, and he remembered that this mansion, here a couple houses down from his, that the guy was like a famous eye doctor. And he literally walked up and knocked on this guy's door. Didn't know him from Adam, but he knocked on this guy's door, and the guy happened to be home and opened the door. And he said, "Hey, this might sound crazy, but my name's Ed Milet. I live a couple of houses down. I kind of vaguely remember that you're an eye doctor and that you've got, some amazing new technologies and stuff. And I've got this sister that is clinically blind. She's got type 1 diabetes. She's clinically blind, and she can't teach her kids anymore. And is there anything that we can do about it?" And the doctor invited him into his house, and they talked about it. And the doctor said, "Yeah, I think that we can help her." And he doesn't go into the details on how much it costs, but he talks about being able to stroke a check for the full amount, and his teacher and this eye doctor, cures his sister's blindness. And then it shows an article. He holds up an article where this teacher is in front of the school with a classroom of 20 or 30 kids, back to doing what she wants to do in life. So folks, it's worth it. The pain and the suffering and everything that you're going through in life right now, it's worth it. And it's not even worth it because of everything that you're going to get. It's worth it because of everything that you're going to be able to do for everybody else. Yeah, the things that you're going to get to do for yourself are awesome too. But I'm telling you, when you can do it for other people, that's when it's important. My wife and I, we went to the Exuma, Bahamas a few years back, and we absolutely fell in love with it. And it was an amazing trip. We absolutely loved it. But you know what was even better? The next year, we took my dad and my mom and my son, and we were able to go have an amazing time in the Exuma, Bahamas. And my father, that was in November of 2022. My father passed away in May of 2023. And that's still one of the best memories of my whole life, watching my dad go to this amazing tropical island and swimming in the bluest of blue waters and snorkeling, seeing these fish. One of the most amazing trips of my whole life that I would have never been able to do if I hadn't gone through what I needed to go through to get to the place financially where I could go to this destination. We've got plans to go back there again in the not too distant future, hopefully, and we're taking a couple of new people. And that's just a trip. But imagine when you're able to really do massive things to help other people and change other people's lives. On top of that, just the inspiration that you're providing, because once you do it, you've proven it can be done, and then you're going to be able to help other people do it. You got people, you got friends, you got family, you got loved ones that are watching you right now. And they might be the same people that feel like they're kind of pulling you back, that are maybe the haters. A lot of times it's just out of love. They don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you try so hard and then fail. And so a lot of times these folks mean well, but they unfortunately, you got to fight through them. They're the people reaching up, grabbing your leg, trying to pull you back down to where they are. Sometimes it's just, uncomfortable. People don't like it when you start to outgrow them, and so on and so forth. But these are the same people that once you make it, they're going to cheer, and they're going to be like, man, I knew you'd do it. I always knew you'd do it, Brad. I knew it was going to happen. But then you're going to start to inspire them. You take away their excuses, because if you can do it, they know they can do it. So not only do you have everything that you want, and your kids and your wife and your husband and your close family get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but you're going to start to attract and pull other people up and change lives, folks. So I'm just here to tell you that whatever you got to go through to get to where you want to be, it's worth it. It is so worth it. And with that, I went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I love you guys. And I hope that today was a powerful day for you guys. I'm going to go find a couple of Joe Dispenza YouTube videos that I think are powerful, that I think you'll enjoy listening to. And if you embody what he talks about, and he gives you more of the technicals and the strategy, how to actually implement some of these things. And hopefully I got you excited enough about the possibility that you're willing to go do a little bit of work, learning more about this thing that we call, manifestation, intention, and attracting the things that you want into your life. So I will get that into the description. With that, folks, God bless you all. I love you. Have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and we will see you again very soon. Take care.